Beauty of the Ugly Ghost, Episode 5, a story by Pamela's Tales. Nonso wanted to take his leave, but Ada couldn't sleep at night. She kept staring at her ceiling. Nonso sat beside her quietly. "Are you okay?" he asked. She shook her head. "Nothing is okay. My name is not Ada. My life is not mine. My sister died, and I feel her heartbeat inside me." Then she looked at Nonso and asked, "I know you encountered Chinaya as a ghost, but did you love her back?" Nonso was confused. He didn't know if he had to tell Ada the truth or give her an answer out of pity. He paused, then spoke gently. "I don't know where one of you ends and the other begins. To be candid, I'm not myself. I'm just trying to be a man. But what I know is, when I see you, I feel I accomplished Chinaya's mission. I didn't understand the assignment initially, but now I do. When I see you, Ada, my heart forgets how to stay still." Ada looked away. "But I'm not her. I'm not gentle or soft. I don't know how to love." "You will learn," he said, "not just how to love a man, but how to love your neighbor." But as they spoke under the moon, a pair of eyes watched them in the shadows. Chinaya, her spirit draped in white, sat by her tomb. She did not cry. She did not speak. She simply smiled and felt accomplished. Then she faded into the wind. Meanwhile, the road from Lagos to Abuja was long and dusty, but Mama Chinaya did not care. Her feet ached, her heart beat like a talking drum, but she pressed on. She clutched onto Chinaya's picture, and how she used to call her Mama stared back at her. Each step she took whispered, "Find her, she is waiting." On the other side of Abuja, Ada stood before the mirror. Her reflection stared back with questions in its eyes. "Am I Chinaya, or am I just a shadow?" she whispered. She touched her own face, as if hoping to feel her sister's fingerprints. Nonso watched her quietly, afraid to speak. He had seen her grow softer, and her demeanor had started to feel like Chinaya's sarcasms. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Nonso opened it, and standing there was a tall, disguised stranger. His eyes were pale gray, his feet bare. "I seek the one who carries two spirits," the stranger said. Ada stepped forward, looking confused. "Who are you?" He didn't smile. He didn't blink. "I am Ezumezu, the spirit messenger of twin souls. You were not just separated at birth, you were cursed." Ada's body grew cold. Nonso held her hands. Ezumezu continued. "Many years ago, a jealous priest placed a spell on your mother's womb. One child will live in light, the other would wander in darkness. And that's why Chinaya died and you became forgotten." Ada fell to her knees. Her voice cracked like a clay pot. "No, no, that can't be true." Ezumezu nodded. "But now the curse can be undone, but not without sacrifice." "What kind of sacrifice?" Nonso asked. Ezumezu's eyes grew dark. Then he replied, "Your sister's spirit cries because of wrongdoers. Those who did her wrong must pay. But before that, your mother must choose who completes that mission between the child she buried and the child she forgot." And as fate will have it, at the same time, Mama Chinaya arrived in Abuja. She wandered the streets with a photo showing strangers. "Please, have you seen her? my daughter, or someone who looks like her? A kind fruit seller pointed. I know a girl that looks like this in that corner house, but she no dey smile that much, like person wey don see too much for this life. Mama Chinaya ran, tears falling down her face like a waterfall. She finally reached the corner house she was directed to and knocked once. The door opened, and there she was. Ada. Their eyes met. Two rivers that had flowed apart now stared at each other across dry land. Mama Chinaya gasped. Chinonye, she called. Ada shook her head slowly. I don't know if I am her, but they say I was born a twin. Mama dropped to her knees. She cried. She laughed. She cried again. My baby, my moon, and my star. The gods have remembered me. I am your mother. Ada touched her, not as a stranger, but as a daughter aching to belong. But outside, Ezumezu stood beneath the baobab tree. The moon whispered in his ears. The time has come. The mother must choose, and with her choice, one soul must vanish. Mama Chinaya must choose which of her daughters walks the path of justice. Which of them will answer the cries of the earth soaked in blood? Which of them will make them pay? Those who killed and those who planned to kill. The wicked souls, the ones who spill blood, yet hides from sorrow. Will it be Chinaya's spirit, which is calm, yet seeks revenge? Or Chinonye, who is fierce as the storm, with eyes that burns like justice? All too soon, night fell like a heavy cloth over Abuja. The moon rose slowly, silent and silver, watching as if it knew what was about to unfold. Inside the small room, Ada sat on one side of the room. Mama sat on the other. Between them was Izumizu, the spirit messenger, his eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Nonso stood in the corner, his heart thumping like a talking drum trapped in fire. The time has come, Izumizu said in a voice that echoed from somewhere older than memory. You must choose, Mama. One child to stay and fight for justice, the other will return and will be forgotten. Mama's body trembled. She looked at Ada, her child, flesh of her flesh. And then she looked beyond to the ghost of Chinaya, who now stood beside her twin, unseen by all but Izumezu. But how do I choose between the sun and the moon? She wept. Between the child I buried and the one circumstances forced me to forget. Ezumezu closed his eyes. You must not choose with your mind. Choose with your soul. Upon hearing that, Mama reached for Ade's hands, even though she was confused. Chinonye, my daughter, she called. Do you want to revenge? Or do you want to let Chinaya fight for herself? Ada looked up. Her voice was low but firm. I don't want to be a replacement, she replied. I want to be remembered for me, not her. But if the drum of vengeance beats loud for my sister's life, I will not rest until the debt of the blood is paid in full. Ada said these words and smiled through her tears, and the moon above grew full and round like a promise. Then, for the first time in a while, Nonso spoke like he was pledging. I think I know who is behind Chinaya's death. And right there, Chinaya's entire revenge plan was delivered. Nonso explained his encounter with Pastor Nkem's bodyguard, and with the help of Chinaya's spirits and the ancestors, a perfect plan was brought out to unveil the dirty marks on Pastor Nkem's face. Meanwhile, all too soon, it was Sunday morning in the city of Lagos, and Pastor Nkem's flock gathered like a mighty river, their praises echoing through the auditorium. But in the shadows, Chinonye waited like a leopard, stalking its prey, her heart fixed on the pastor, her plan ripe for execution. In no time, the church secretary stepped forward with grace, her voice laced with reverence, as she welcomed Pastor Nkem to the sacred altar. She hailed him as a man of deep devotion, God-fearing, humble, and heaven-sent. The congregation echoed her words with a thunderous applause, their hands raised and their hearts pleased. But far from the echoes of praises, Chinonye stepped out of the black limousine, her eyes burning with fury. Her spirit boiled like hot oil in a calabash. She was angry, wounded, and ready for war. She was no longer just a woman. She was a storm, clothed in human skin, carrying the spirit of Chinaya, the ghost who was wronged and forgotten. And as the sermon reached its peak, Chinonye waited. She would not stay hidden for long. Soon, she would rise like a shadow from the underworld and forced Pastor Nkem to confess, not with calm, but with trembling lips and shameful tears, until his lies poured out like wine from a broken calabash. Meanwhile, Mama Enonso had returned home, quietly digging into the mystery behind the fire that nearly claimed his life. With a heavy heart, Mama admitted she had long harbored doubts about him. That's why she secretly sent her men to investigate. But what they uncovered was far more chilling. Two armed men were seen setting Nonso's house ablaze, not by accident, but by design. Further digging revealed a dark truth. The attackers were hired executioners sent by Nonso's ex-lover and her new man, who is a shadowy figure deeply entangled in drug trafficking. Without wasting time, Mama Enonso alerted the authorities, determined to bring the culprits to justice. The police raided Obinna's house that same day. They found charms, stolen documents, and video evidence. Timmy was arrested while preparing for her engagement party. Nonso, she begged, as she was dragged into the police van. Forgive me, I was blinded by greed. It was Obinna. He promised me everything. Nonso stared at her. You had my heart, he said, and you set it on fire. Then he walked away, not in anger, but in peace. Back at the church, Chinonye stood at the back, dressed in a long black gown. She looked like a bride, but not one coming to be joined in marriage. Her eyes were locked on the pulpit. It was cold, steady, and full of silence. Pastor Nkem spotted her. He froze. Sweat rolled down his face. His hands shook. No, Chinaya, no. This can't be happening, he stammered. I didn't mean to kill you. Please, don't come for me. Chinonye didn't say a word. She just stared. The congregation turned, following Pastor Nkem's eyes. Gasps filled the room. It's her. Someone whispered. A ghost in the church? Another murmured. Fear swept through the building. Some wanted to run. Others just stayed frozen. Then, suddenly, Pastor Nkem tore off his clerical robe. He began to shout, confessing like a madman. I didn't want to do it, but she trusted me too much. I had no choice. But Chinunye simply laughed, a loud, wicked, painful laugh that echoed through the church like thunder. Then she finally spoke. You buried me in a white veil, but I have returned in a black veil. What did I ever do to you, Pastor Nkem? Why did you end my life in such a cruel and shameful way, when all I have ever done was to love you? The church was silent. No one moved, not even the wind. Chinonye laughed out loud again. Her laughter cracked through the air like thunder. Have you revealed your true self to them? Have you told them that you are divine by day and a devouring devil by night? A sheep in wolf's clothing, a serpent that strikes with a lover's kiss, the devil's own spy, using the pulpits to preach lies. Whispers spread like wildfire. Was Chinaya a flesh or a spirit? Was she living or dead? Or, to put it together, a living dead? The congregation's eyes turned to Pastor Nkem, whose face was drained at this point, and his voice trembled. No, I buried you. You are dead. You were lowered into the ground before my eyes. And just like that, he jumped up and ran out of the church, completely naked. Chinonye let out a loud, satisfied laugh. Her mission had only begun. The congregation, shocked and confused, chased after their disgraced pastor. But they weren't the only ones watching. Mama Chinaya had arranged for the media to be there, and they captured everything live. By evening, Pastor Nkem's secrets were all over the news. Deceiver, liar, murderer. To say the church was in chaos would be small. To call it war wouldn't even begin to describe it. That day, Pastor Nkem made headlines, and in the crowded streets of Lagos, where true believers gathered, and the broken sick healing, his name would never be forgotten. Days passed after Pastor Nkem's insanity and sudden disappearance. Mama, Nonso, and Chinonye stood beneath the baobab tree. The wind was calm. The sun was bright. They poured libation on the earth, palm wine, cola, and even tears. For Chinaya, they said in unison, for the one who loved and lost and rose. Chinonye placed a single flower at the foot of the tree. Rest now, sister, she whispered. Your story has ended, but mine has just begun. And far away at the Mirror River, Chinaya sat beneath the moon, smiling, peaceful and whole. She turned to the spirit elder and said with tears of joy, they remembered me, and that's enough. Moral of the story: betrayal walks with smooth sandals, but truth will always find its path. Even in silence, the ancestors speak, and when they do, justice reigns like thunder. Thank you, beloved listeners, for walking with us through this unforgettable tale. May your hearts stay warm, your paths stay clear, and may love always find you, even in the dark. Until our next super story, bye.